Hey guys, so real quick before I get into this game, I want to let you guys know that I was not able to play my NPA game this week. I had a big charity cancer drive going on that I was running, and I just had absolutely no time at all to actually play my game. I built a team, but whenever it came down to actually playing, I couldn't do it. I had school all day Tuesday, I was setting up the drive Wednesday, I had school all day Thursday from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m., and then I had the actual charity drive on Friday, so I was not able to play my game in time. So I asked a very good friend of mine, Gypsy King, to actually play the game for me, and he was so nice enough to actually play it. And what I'm hoping, I haven't talked to him yet. Like, I have his game in front of me, but I'm hoping to have his actual commentary so you guys know what he was thinking, because Gypsy King is, in my opinion, the best person in League format. If he is not the best, he's like top 2 up there with, or top 3 up there with Zazo and Matty Brawlick. So being able to get him to play for me was an absolutely huge help. So Gypsy, if you are watching this, I want to say thank you so very much for playing this game for me. I really do appreciate it. And thank you, Jerry, for understanding. It really does mean a lot that people in the NPA, they're like, you know what, we understand that life happens, and if you need a sub, it's completely fine. One game of the season. I normally don't have anybody play my games for me. Like, I had it in the P4G once because IRL stuff going on with people passing away. And then I've had it now once in the NPA because of a charity drive that I was running. So it's really, really cool that they were all very understanding about that. And I want to thank everybody in the NPA for understanding. But with all that being said, guys, I'm going to leave a link to Gypsy King's channel down in the description below. Very, 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 very good Draft League player. If you are into Draft League stuff, go check him out. He is in probably one of the most competitive Draft Leagues out there, the NPL. And he always performs well. I think he has, 6 championships now or something like that. Like, he is a force to be reckoned with. And I think that anybody that underestimates him or doesn't know who he is kind of sort of missing out. So, again, his links will be down there. And then I will probably talk a little bit about the game afterwards, because after I watched it and when I recorded it for him, I noticed a couple of things that he did that I kind of want to point out, and a couple of things that Jerry did that I really want to point out. But with all that being said, guys, let's just go ahead and cut right over to Gypsy's battle.
Hey, what is up, guys? You got Gypsy back here today with some more Draft League content, and today we are actually filling in for Under the Radar, aka Kelly, in the NPA. So this is not a league that I've really been exposed to all that much, but I am subbed to Kelly, so I do watch his NPA matches. So I do have a general idea of the kind of opponents in this league, and Kelly was actually had something way more important than Mons on today, which is why he couldn't play his match. He was raising money for cancer, so shout out to him for doing something so important. But I'm filling in for him in this match, and we're going up against the guy called Jerry Oak. Didn't know who this guy was prior to this matchup, but yeah, I did some scouting, as is very important in league matches, something I recommend to all of my viewers who watch. It's very important to get an understanding of your opponent before you play. This can really help you in the way you build. It can help you in understanding their thought process when playing the match. Certain players will be aggressive, whereas others will be very passive, and maybe not the experience level to make certain predictions or plays. All of this is very important. If you're playing against a really good player, it's often easier to play because you can expect them to make good predictions and then play accordingly. But if you're playing someone who is maybe more unpredictable, maybe not as experienced in the format, if you over predict, you can really put yourself in a bad situation. So scouting is always very important. Something I recommend all of you guys do. But nonetheless, I did have a bit of a look into Jerry, and I see his name there as Cherry, but I believe his Twitter handle is Jerry Oak. I noticed that he loved to spam T-Wave Rocks Uxie, so that was definitely something I accounted for when building. A quick rundown of the team that I've brought. We have Kelly's got a pretty fun team. I'm sure you guys all know Kelly's team because surely you're subscribed to him. But yeah, he's got a pretty nice team built around Zardex. Has stuff like a Alolan Persian, Nidoqueen. Heliolisk also has stuff like Lucario on it. You see he's got a really solid war core in Nidoqueen, Jellicent, and Skarmory, which is definitely something that I brought to this match to abuse versus my opponent's team, as it does check the majority of it. But yeah, my opponent doesn't have the best checks to Zardex, which is definitely something we're going to be taking advantage of. But yeah, the team that I've built today is centered around Zardex. We do have Z Parting Shot on Persian, which is designed to bring back Zard after it loses a lot of health. This allows me to play recklessly with Zard in the early game, and if I do get the chance to bring Zard back late game, I can sweep after weakening his defensive checks to it. So yeah, so obviously the lead mon here we have is Persian. Persian is rocking Taunt. Taunt Parting Shot, Hidden Power Ice for the Gliscor just to weaken another Zard check, as I mentioned. And then we also have Foul Play. Foul Play does, it's just a lot of work to his team. Obviously he does have the Cabalion, but Foul Play is useful for stuff like aggro. It's useful for like a Swords Dance Gliscor if his Spadef and Hidden Power Ice is doing nothing. It's useful for the Starmie even, but it was useful for even more on his team. He had a couple of threats on his team that had big attack stats. Foul Play boosted by Stab is just really solid. But the main kind of purpose of this Persian on the team is going to be a disruptor. It does have Taunt to stop Uxie in its tracks, and Parting Shot is very nice for my setup mons like Zard, as well as my defensive checks, just stomaching hits even easier after the Parting Shot attack drops. So then we have my defensive Scum. It's Rocky Helmet. Didn't really need Spadef this game, like Fizdef Scum just does work. I've got Whirlwind in case he does decide to bring a Swords Dance Gliscor. If he's like Swords Dance Pass into like Physical Coco or even Cabalion or Aggron, that could be obviously a bit of a pain, so we are rocking Whirlwind there. I do have Spikes, I do have Stack, I do have Spike Stack versus this team. I have Jellicent here to block the spin from Starmie, so that is pretty solid, but obviously keeping rocks off my side of the field is important, as I have Zard. I'm going to aim to Mega Evolve Zard as soon as possible to mitigate the Stealth Rocks damage that I will be taking, but I do have Defog on this set, just in case he does get up rocks and I can't bring his Zard in safely like that. So we do have Defog on this set. It's actually Roost, Defog, Spikes, and Whirlwind, so it's a non-attacking set, but that's completely fine in this matchup. No attacking move I had outside of counter was really going to put in work this game, so that is the Scum, Rocky Helmet defensive. Then we have a mixed defensive, predominantly specially defensive Nidoqueen. Aim to take on his Tapu Koko predominantly, also takes on Cabalion with relative ease, just by virtue of my typing. My natural bulk with a little defensive investment that I have means that I can chew Iron Heads pretty well. And if you look at his team, like Earth Power does work. I've got Earth Power, Ice Beam, Stealth Rocks, and Sleep Talk. He did have an Amoonguss on his squad, so this was my Spore Fodder. If I just switch into Nidoqueen, I can press Sleep Talk, either get a heavy hit off or get up my rocks. So yeah, Nidoqueen pretty solid versus this team. Pretty important check to Tapu Koko, which is definitely a threat. Then we have Jellicent, which is a predominantly specially defensive again. It allows me to take on Analytic Life Orb Starmie on the switch. Just a very important mon for this team. If I can stack my hazards, or if I do decide I want to stack hazards, I can use Starmie to block the spin from his. I can use Jellicent to block the spin from his Starmie, which is obviously really nice. And this mon is also another check to Cabalion, which is very solid. I can tank a T-Bolt from Tapu Koko because I am so heavily invested in Spadef, but I don't expect to be leaving my Jellicent in on Tapu Koko unless I am making a hard sort of read that he'll overpredict me going to Nidoqueen. But yeah, Jellicent, pretty nice one. Also can take on Aggron fairly well because I do have some defense investment. Then we have Zardex. It's a really bulky, adamant Zardex with enough speed at +1 to be able to outspeed his entire team, barring faster Scarfers. So stuff like Tapu Koko won't be safe once I'm at +1. But my Zard is so fat that I can set up with ease on Tapu Koko. Hidden Power Ground is definitely not doing half. I roost up, I Dragon Dance up, I roost up on it. It's just a really solid mon versus his team. I do have Earthquake for the Aggron. Fleblitz will be doing also a decent amount, but the fact that Earthquake just murks him 4 times damage, it's just really solid. If I get a Fleblitz off on the switch, I can Oko him with Earthquake. All Z moves, most Z moves are eligible in this league, so obviously all attack Z moves and a lot of the support Z moves. So if he's the Z Rock move, I'm not gonna risk going for double Flare Blitz when it won't kill, when I can just go for Flare Blitz as EQ and secure the Oko on the Aggron, depending on the spread. Obviously, Shukaberry variant would suck, but I'm not realistically going to leave Zardex in on Aggron. I'm going to play fairly safe around his Aggron if he does come into that situation. Then we have a Scarfed Heliolisk outspeeding his potential Scarfers in Scarfed Cabalion, as and it's also a really solid switch into stuff like Starmie if I'm feeling myself. Trying to switch into a Hydro Pump or a T-Bolt on his predicted Starmie, but he also could just go for the Side Shock, predicting my Jellicent to come in into T-Bolt, so that's definitely something I'm going to have to kind of be aware of. But yeah, Heliolisk has potential to just wrap up the game. If you look at his team, like once I eliminate the Gliscor, Volt Switch is pretty free, and grabbing Momentum, the combination of Heliolisk and Persian, looks to be doing a lot of work. So we're going to jump into the match. I am just going to lead off with my Persian, as realistically, he'll probably lead with Uxie. If he leads off with Gliscor, I can Taunt or Hidden Power Ice it. Parting Shot is obviously pretty nice versus all of his team, but I'm not really going to try and stay on Tapu Koko. But I do expect him to lead with Uxie. That's how he has played the majority of his games this season, as we do get that right. He does lead off with the Uxie. And yeah, shout outs to King Bob for genning me the team and nicknaming me the Mons. Pretty funny nicknames. We're going to Taunt and prevent him from T-Waving or setting up rocks turn 1, as he does go for the T-Wave. And now I can just Parting Shot here, predicting a switch out. He could have gone for U-turn here, but had he gone for U-turn, I would have outsped and gone for Parting Shot. I could have gone out into my Zard or my Skarmory there. He goes into his Cabalion, and this is pretty nice because with the attack drops, even without the attack drops, Cabalion is never going this Zard. Like, this Zard is really fat. It's like max HP, and it's just so bulky. For those of you who don't know, like, Megazard is a special Mega in my heart. Like, it's such a fun mon, and I've got a lot of history with this thing on my channel. So yeah, Megazard's going to go for the Flare Blitz here, as he does Volt out into his Gliscor, and now this attack investment that I do have with Adamant is designed to 2 KO a defensive Gliscor on the switch. So you're going to see his Gliscor is going to come in, and it's going to take over half from Flare Blitz, and given the speed investment that I do have, like if this is a defensive Gliscor, I'm going to be able to tell by the damage he takes from Flare Blitz. That Revealcy is quite defensive, so he's not going to have enough speed to outspeed my Zard this following turn, so I can just knock him out with a Flare Blitz. And this is his best sort of check to Zard eliminated now. It's also his only electric immunity gone, so Heliolisk is quite free now to just spam Volt Switch. But he's going to bring out his Starmie here, which is the only really thing that can threaten out my Zard at this point. Tapu Koko can't touch me, and Cabalion certainly can't. So I'm going to go out into my Jellicent here, as he does go for the Psychic, which is nice. Obviously this is analytic boosted, so it's going to be doing more. And with the Life Orb, it's going to be doing a decent chunk, but Wichu, that only did like 64 damage. So I assume this is analytic. I was too lazy to calc in game, but it did a solid chunk. Jellicent is nice and fat. So this turn, I am going to switch out here. Now the reason I double is because, like, his play here is either to, I didn't expect him to Psychic there, because I could have gone for the Toxic, the Willow, or the Shadow Ball. Realistically, the Shadow Ball was pretty free there. So switching in Uxie was kind of questionable on his part, but he wasn't going to stay in. And if he was going to stay in, it was to click T-Bolt. He saw how little Shadow, the Psychic did on my Starmie, and even if he had gone for Psychic, with Heliolisk Natural Special Bulk, we lived. We then gained momentum with U-turn the following turn, but Volt Switch the following turn. He is going to go out into his Uxie here, and I can just go for the Volt Switch. This is going to tell me a lot of important information about this Uxie, as we are timid. That Volt Switch does a decent chunk, so this is more than likely defensive Fizz-Def Uxie, maybe mixed defensive Uxie, but that's totally fine. He's going to go for the Stealth Rocks here as we go into our Skarm, and like I mentioned earlier, I don't really want hazards up on my side of the field if I can help it. I know this Uxie now has T-Wave, Stealth Rock. It's more than likely packing some sort of stab. It don't think it has U-turn. It might at this point, but he actually goes for the Reflect here. So screens Uxie with lefty, so he's not like Clay. We are going to get those screens and rocks out of here. As now, in my opinion, like, Skarm can just sit here all day and defog on this Uxie. There's not a whole lot this Uxie can do to my Skarm. If I do have Toxic, this would be the turn to reveal it. He should fear the Toxic. I am going to switch out to my Heliolisk here to capitalize on his potential Cabalion switch in trying to scout for Toxic, but he just goes up for the rocks again. So if I was Toxic Skarm, he would 100% lose this exchange 1v1, but he decides not to scout for it and just goes for the rocks there. So interesting play by my opponent, but Heliolisk can just Volt Switch here once more, getting some more chips. See, the thing is, once I wear this Uxie down, my Zard just wins. I know he's T-Wave, and I know that I can't heal a T-Wave off with Persian's Z parting shot, because it just heals back to health as opposed to being like a healing wish, restoring all the status. But once I weaken this Uxie, my Zard can win, my Helios can win. But he's going to go for the Psychic here. He's going to get the Spit F drop, which is annoying, but I will be able to just roost up this following turn, just in case he wanted to decide to stay in and spam Psychic. That was I needed to heal up with Scum just to ensure that I didn't lose it, because it is still pretty important for the Cobalion and the Aggron. He's going to make the offensive play and switch out to his Coco this turn, as I do roost up with Scum. Rocks are up, which is annoying, but we will eventually get those out of here, as his Tapu Koko is going to obviously force the switch here. So pretty obvious play. I'm going to go out to my Nidoqueen. I have no reason not to play defensive. I've constructed a team in such a way as to allow me to play defensively versus his team. So he's going to go for the Nature's Madness here, which is a nice read on his part. He didn't lose much by it. Had I switched out into Nidoqueen, he took off half. Had I stayed in with Scum, he took off half and broke Sturdy, meaning he could revenge next turn with T-Bolt. But he goes to the Nature's Madness. He takes me down to half, but this is actually okay, because our Black Sludge, over the course of the game, is going to bring back Nidoqueen's health to an amount where it can check his Tapu Koko late game. But he's going to bring in his Uxie, which is a nice play, scouting for the Earthquake, or the Earth Power there. Also would have chewed a Sludge Wave, because I have shown to be Black Sludge, so I'm not like a very offensive variant. As I get my rocks up, just wanting to chip down this Uxie as best I can. This turn I'm going to go out into my Persian, which takes on Psychic. I didn't expect him to T-Wave there. Even if he did, it wasn't the end of the world. It just means that I automatically lose potential speed ties with Starmie, if that is the case and he gets the T-Wave off. But now, he's in a situation where I could Taunt or I could Parting Shot. He decides to switch out to his Cobalion this turn, not wanting to risk me going for a Dark Pulse there, I suppose. But I am just going to Parting Shot. If anything, if he stayed in there, he was probably going to click T-Wave, but I had already shown Taunt, so his play was to switch out. As we did get the drop on Cobalion, which is nice. I can go back out into my Helios, and the terrain is up, but it is actually going to end this turn, unfortunately. Had it set up, I would have been able to get a nice boosted hit off on the Uxie, as it came in to tank the Volt Switch, but that's alright. The field's going to return back to normal, as Cobalion is probably not going to want to stay in here. If he does, I do have Scum to just switch into. But he's going to go out into his Uxie again, and we're getting some nice chip on this Uxie. Getting those rocks up is obviously annoying, because it means I haven't defogged my own rocks away, but it does allow me to get more and more chip on this Uxie, which is very important. I'm going to go out to my Zard here. I knew that Flare Blitz probably wouldn't kill. It had a very slight chance to, depending on his spread, but it's Wi-Fi, it's harder to gauge spreads on Wi-Fi. But what I really wanted to do was just wear this Uxie down to the point where it couldn't switch in comfortably to another Volt Switch. I go for the Flare Blitz here, knowing that he can't kill me with Psychic if he does want to hit it, just because I am very, very specially defensive on this side. But he is going to T-Wave me, which is obviously annoying, but now we have got the damage off on the Uxie to ensure that Heliolisk is going to be able to revenge it with a Volt Switch at that range of health. But this turn we are going to switch out, because I can bring this back later on with my Persian, as like I said, Zard does roost up and 1v1 Coco, it 1v1's Cobalion. As we get the Psychic read there right, his Uxie is in a position where it probably should switch out. He may want to preserve it, as even if he doesn't, I can just Parting Shot into my Zard, heal it up, so it will not die to a Psychic. And he's likely going to T-Wave that turn if he did stay in. But I'm going to Z Parting Shot, go out into my Zard, as he actually makes the Aggron play. So this Aggron is pretty interesting. He hasn't really, he's shown to be Rock's Uxie, so this is more than likely an offensive Aggron, like a breaking set. As we're going to get the Parting Shot drop off on the Aggron. This is going to allow us to bring back in our Zard and heal it up. So Zard's going to remain paralyzed, but with the Aggron here anyway, I would be switching out even if I wasn't paralyzed, because I haven't confirmed anything about his set yet. I don't know if he's a Shukaberry variant, I don't know if he's like max defensive, in which case Earthquake is a roll to kill. If he's offensive, it just echoes, but I sort of underspeed him anyway, so I'm going to go out to my Skarmory here, as he goes for the Head Smash and he misses. This is unfortunate for my opponent, but you're going to see how much damage his Head Smash actually does to my Skarm. we're at 150. It does like 48 damage. So we would have chewed 2 comfortably. Had he hit the first, I would have roosted on the second. Just kind of roost thawed him with a bit of helmet chip each turn. But I do decide to just go for the defog there, as this turn I am going to switch out into my into my Persian. If he does want to go for another head smash, Persian can tank, just purely because I do have the fur coat and like max HP. He's actually going to reveal the Continental Crush this turn, which also wouldn't have killed my Scum. But I guess he had to bank on a crit there. My play was to roost there with Scum, but I just switch out to Persian anyway because he could have made the switch out that turn. He could have definitely switched out to Uxie there on my Scum, and he could have set up rocks once more, and then that could have continued. He could have got lefties back with Uxie, but I'm going to go out to my Persian here and eat up that Continental Crush, and then parting shot back out into my Nidoqueen, who can tank the head smash. Now here, he misses a head smash. He was at -2, so head smash versus max HP defensive Nidoqueen was doing literally nothing. But yeah, unfortunate from my opponent, I guess. But yeah, would have done like 10 damage. Now I would have done like 20 damage or something like that. Wouldn't have done too much, considering he's at -2 and it's a resisted hit. But this is going to allow me to get some more Black Sludge back. This turn I'm going to make the switch. He should keep this aggron. He really should. This is one of his only ways of pressuring my Charizard now that his Gliscor is dead. His Tapu Koko can't beat me. His Cavalion definitely can't beat me. He's very pressured by Zard, and this is one of his main ways of dealing with it. So I do expect him to preserve this aggron and make the switch out into his Uxie here. So I am going to make the switch out into my Heliolisk. Even if he does decide to stay in, I know I can tank a hit because he's at -2. And if he is going to stay in, it's going to be the Click Earthquake. He does decide to stay in and Click Earthquake. So don't really agree with that play, because now, like, had I just clicked Earth Power there and outsped, even if I hadn't outsped, I killed him off for Zard to just win. But I can also understand it, like, had he outsped me there, he was trying to weaken me for his Tapu Koko to win, or to kind of beat my Nidoqueen more effectively with HP ground. However, he was at -2, I'm a defensive Nidoqueen, and for all he knows, I could have outsped, I could have been creeping his aggron. So, don't really agree with that play, but it worked out for him there, as he is going to go for the EQ and whittle down my Heliolisk. But I can still go for the Volt Switch this turn, as he's going to switch in his Uxie. So this is nice. We're going to be able to pick off the Uxie here with the Volt Switch, and now I don't have to worry about rocks getting back up on my side of the field. So if I get the opportunity, I can get up my own hazards on his side, which is going to be very useful. But you're going to see, we're going to go back out into our Nidoqueen here just to get some more Black Sludge recovery. It was also the only mon that forced in anything but it was the only one on my team that forced in Starmie. It matched up well versus everything else, which means that I can just go back out into my Jellicent here. He's going to go for the Psychic on the switch, and knowing from earlier damage, we can tank that with ease. He gets a larger roll than last time, but we get the lefties back, we can tank. He's going to reveal T-Bolt this turn, which is... Psychic was a mid-ground play there. He could have been a bit aggressive and gone for T-Bolt, predicting my switch out. Had he done that, I would have lost Jellicent and revenged with Heliolisk there. But we do tank the T-Bolt because of our Spadef investment, and now we can heal up with the recover. This Starmie is not beating us 1v1 outside of crits, and at this range of health, a crit won't even kill. So after the lefties, so he's going to switch out here, as we do recover up once more, which is going to bring us back to full, which is important because now we can comfortably check the Starmie in the late game, because that is the only real thing threatening the rest of my team. I do have answers to Tapu Koko, I do have answers to Cavalion, so he's gonna obviously stay in here with Koko and fire off another Nature's Madness. I'm gonna go out to my Charizard here. Reason I do this as opposed to going out to Nidoqueen was, had he gone for Nature's Madness on my Nidoqueen and then proceeded to crit me that turn, that would have been the end of my Nidoqueen right there. So we are going to go out into Zard here, as he is going to fire off the Nature's Madness, and like I said earlier, like, that's fine. I'm a bulky Zard, so I know that I can roost up even if he does have the Hidden Power Ground. So this turn I am going to go for the Roost. You're going to see we chew this here. This is a Tapu Koko. We chew, that's definitely doing under half, but of course we get parrots, so, you know, that's unfortunate. So I'd literally could have preserved the 6-0. Had I roosted there, I could have comfortably 6-0'd, but, you know, that's just Pokemon. So we are going to go out to our Nidoqueen here, and I know that this Mon can easily take on this Tapu Koko, and so he's going to switch out this turn. He's going to go right out into his Gajeel, which is his Aggron here, and this is pretty nice. Like, Aggron is just going to drop. You know, Aggron was losing to the rest of my team anyway, but it's always nice to remove like a nice offensive threat versus my team. So now I don't have to worry about switching into Head Smash. Although Nidoqueen and Skarm did a pretty great job of doing that anyway. But yeah, he's going to now switch back out into his Starmie, which is basically the last remaining offensive threat versus my team. Tapu Koko is pretty much checked by Queen, but I do have obviously the Jellicent in the back to come and check this Starmie. So like the best Starmie can really do is crit Parami with T-Bolt. That's really the only way the Starmie beats my Jellicent right now, because it is getting chipped by the Life Orb damage, and of course we do have Heliolisk in the back. So now he's going to bring out his Cobalion on my Shadow Ball. Interesting switch. I don't really see what Cobalion can do versus my Jellicent. He reveals to be a lefties variant, so if he's like Swords Dance Ironhead, and he wants to flinch me down, that could be interesting. But he actually reveals Calm Mind, so interesting Cobalion set. Definitely interesting. He's revealed Volt Switch already, so he's more than likely Calm Mind, Volt Switch, potentially like Flash Cannon and Focus Blast, possibly, or even like Taunt perhaps. But even with the Calm Minds up, my Jellicent, not invested in special attack, is still going to be doing a decent chunk with Scalds. I have no reason not to, you know, continue spamming Scalds. Like, yes, he's boosting up, but the best he can do is Volt Switch versus me. Like, that's the best way he can touch me, meaning that unless he gets the +6 and crits, he's not going to be able to take out my Jellicent here. So I will win this 1v1. I can potentially get Skull Burns. I can bring him down to a point of health where, you know, Heliolisk can revenge anyway, because Heliolisk is actually invested and has a much higher special attack stat than this Jellicent. So he's going to go for the Volt Switch this turn. He's going to do around half for my Jellicent, and he's going to switch out into his Sunny, into his Tapu Koko, which is really nice for us because this puts his Tapu Koko at a range where it would guaranteed go down to Hyper Voice from my Heliolisk. So Heliolisk is looking like a massive threat now. A really nice one to clean up the game. So we're going to get our lefties back. Tapu Koko is still obviously a threat. He could still potentially crit my Nidoqueen, but I do also, like I just said, I do always have Heliolisk in the back to just revenge it, so that's not too much of a problem. He's going to go for the Nature's Madness this turn, bringing Nidoqueen's health down to a decent amount, but still well within range of living in a hidden power ground. And yeah, Nidoqueen's Black Sludge just coming in clutch, proving yeah, how nice, especially defensive Nidoqueen can be versus Electrics. So his hidden power ground is going to do nothing. We're going to chew that. We're actually going to be able to live another one after the next round of Black Sludge. So that's really solid, but of course he's going to drop to Earth Power. He now no longer has an Earth Power switch in, so if he wanted to switch to Starmie, that's going to be taking a decent chunk. Cabalion's likely going to get OHKO'd from where it's at, and yeah, he's just going to bring back in his Starmie here. Now I'm going to go into my Persian this turn. I wasn't trying to stunt necessarily, but Psychic is his best mid-ground play. It covers me staying in, predicting him to go for T-Bolt. It also covers me going to my Jellicent because, you know, Life Orb Analytics stun his Psychic is still doing a decent chunk. He can potentially crit me and then go for T-Bolt the next turn. But what going to Persian does is it allows me to potentially win a speed tie the following turn and go for Parting Shot, bringing my Jellicent in far more safely, especially if he goes for like Surf here. I can, you know, get my my Jellicent in and get all that health back, or at least bring it in versus a -1 Psychic or T-Bolt. So I'm going to go for the Parting Shot here, but we do lose the speed tie. I was max speed Persian, so this was 100% a tie, but he does win it, so a little bit of luck in his favor there, as Persian is going to go down, but this just gives us a nice safe switch in back into our Jellicent, which is really solid, as we can go into Jellicent. But I do decide to go into my Heliolisk because I lose literally nothing by it. I get a free Volt Switch, and if he wants to stay in, you know, he's going to take the Volt Switch to the face and die. So you're going to see he is going to stay in and take a T-Bolt. He's going to drop, and you know, I could have Volted there, but had he gone into Cobalion, T-Bolt was a 2 KO. and Cabellion dies from T-Bolt in this range of health anyway, so there wasn't really a reason to vault there. But that is going to be my match versus Jerry. Pretty fun game. Definitely, like, unfortunate the Zard got parried, but that's just Mon sometimes. Zard definitely put in the work early game, and Helios wrapped it up. So yeah, that was a pretty fun game. Good game to my opponent Jerry. And yeah, go check out Kelly's channel if for some reason you guys haven't already checked it out. He's a great player, and this is obviously his team, and he's having a good season in the NPA. So definitely recommend you go and follow that, and go and check him out. Watch him, take home the championship. So thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, please leave a like on the video and let me know what you thought of the game in the comments. And I will see you guys next time.